Welcome back. You're watching Live from Paris on France 24. It's time for Media Watch with James Creedon. Good to see you, James. Now let's talk about the top story today. A hostage crisis in Algeria. Dozens of Westerners being held by militants just near the border with Libya. Just talk us through the press reaction in Algeria, first of all.
All right, well, one article of a lot of them are doing live blogs, which wouldn't be, I think, that usual for online Algerian media.
This is a long way from the capital, Algiers, we should point out.
That's right. It's way down south, near the border. I think not far from, in that whole desert region to the south. Now, Algeria Focus is one website, and they're saying this is the first consequence of the war in Mali. Algeria, so they're making a direct connection with what's happened with France's intervention in Mali. Algeria has just been struck at the economic centre of the country, where these petroleum bases are. Now, in terms of reaction on Twitter, kidnapping in Algeria shows jihadis in northern Mali can move easily across the border. The government says is closed. Now, we don't know if it was people coming from northern Mali or where exactly they were coming from, but the Algerian government did say the border had been shut. So I suppose it shows how impossible it is to patrol a massive border in the desert.
It's a huge border, absolutely.
Right.
And right near Libya as well.
So just one or two more of those reactions. I feel that we're heading right towards a massive storm, says this particular Twitter person, and also tweets about David Cameron. In any case, it's Algiers' attempt to avoid being drawn into this to this conflict. They are now history. So there you go. Algeria certainly being right in the middle of this drama.
All right. Now, people in Mali, meanwhile, they welcome the French intervention. They see the French as rescuing them from this terrible experience they've had with the Islamists. And in a few years' time, we'll have a legacy of that, won't we? When there's little Malian children running around being called Hollande.
It's rather strange, isn't it? I mean, they're very pleased with the intervention, and it seems that some children, especially in the north of the country, are now being christened Hollande. I'm not sure how that'll be pronounced out there, but it's not the first time that it's happened. Nicolas Sarkozy...
There's not little Sarkozys running around.
There are little Sarkozys running around because of Sarkozy's stance on Armenia when the law on the denial of genocide was passed at the end of Sarkozy's. And even Jacques Chirac, back in 2001, when he voted through a law recognising the Armenian genocide, there were twins named Jacques and Chirac.
Oh,
I'd rather be Jacques than Chirac.
I was going to say, Jacques Chirac got the short end of the stick there, didn't he?
That's it.
Meanwhile, in France, most people do back this intervention, don't they?
That's right. 75%, that's a poll appearing in a lot of media here in France today. 75% of people supporting the intervention. Now, there was an opinion piece by former President Valéry Giscard d'Estaing in Le Monde today. He is, I suppose, pointing out what a couple of journalists have also been saying, for example, in Slate.fr, look, there's a real risk here of the neo-colonial, of being tarred with the neo-colonial brush by African countries if this drags on. And also, let's remember that these are airstrikes with a risk of civilian casualties. So if there's big support in Mali for now, that might not last well into the future if civilian casualties.
Even though the Malians did invite the French in, I mean.
Right, exactly. So we'll see. I suppose the longer this goes on, the higher the risk is of France not being supported all the way.
All right, okay. Now let's talk about what's going on here in France then. Last Sunday we saw a huge demonstration against gay marriage, and today the Mayor of Paris says that damages after that event is going to run into the tens of thousands of euros.
That's right, and he's saying 100,000 people, this is the sum that's going to have to be paid. Now,
100,000 euros.
That's right. Now, initially I thought, is he going to ask the associations who marched, and how would you even do that? Because that's really rather impossible. But in fact, he's billing the Interior Ministry, which gave the green light for this march to go ahead, which convened the three different marches at the Champ de Mars. That's it, exactly. Basically just pushing the bill from one to the other, essentially. And Bertrand Delanoë, he is himself openly gay, so a lot of people were saying, is this just his way of sort of, showing his discontent with that massive rally? There is another photo of everybody convening together at the Champ de Mars last Sunday.
Was it damage to property? And
there was, I think, the grass in particular. It's a big grassy area, as we both know, in the Champ de Mars. Yeah. And apparently costs a lot to repair it. Now, the thing is, it welcomes political rallies very often. It welcomes concerts on occasion. So who pays the bill normally? That's what some people have been asking. Johnny Halliday, for example, had a big concert. There are 700,000 people on the Champ de Mars.
So that caused some damage.
But in fact, it was the city of Paris that paid that bill, apparently, along with the state. So some are saying, well, it's one rule for some and another rule for others. And that's what one priest, who is pretty prolific, if you can use that word, on Twitter, Abbé Grosjean, pointed out. So there you go, a sort of a storm in a teacup, really, but some people pointing to that in French media
And
today.
talking of Twitter, a bit of an exchange between a local official and school students.
Right, now lots of snow in France recently. I think the story's quite funny. And basically a préfet, kind of a prefect locally in Moselle, he's the guy who decides whether the school buses run or not, right? So children started, as you do, as any 2013 child would do, got on Twitter and they said, oh, please, 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 put out an alert so we don't have to go to school. And he actually started replying to them until it sort of degenerated then into kind of quite rude stuff. He was like, oh, don't be such a meanie, don't be a radin. And he said, are you sure that you're using the adequate tone with me? And then another person said, what did he say? Oh, don't be pute, which is very rude in French.
Oh, that's very rude.
And then
he said that to the headmaster. Oh, can you imagine?
No, to the this is to the prefect of the whole region, the kind of administrative guy. And then it went well downhill from there. I can show this on the English channel, but you couldn't on the French channel, talking about nique ta mère and stuff.
Somebody's going to find themselves in a lifetime of detention if they're not careful. Goodness me.
You can't be saying that to the prefect.
Absolutely not. James Creedon, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Laura.
That's it for Media Watch. Now we've got some more juicy stuff from the internet in today's web news. Meet the man who's recreated a train carriage in his cellar and find out why. It's time for web news.